going on, everyone? It's Christina from the Glaser Tutoring Company, and today we are going back to basics, right? We gotta find the greatest common factor. But this is now in polynomial universe, right? We gotta factor those polynomials. Now in this case, I know that I have a polynomial because I have more than two terms, right? A polynomial just means that you have more than two. Usually a two-term expression is called a binomial. Polynomials just mean that you got more than two. And if I look at what I have here, 14x plus 4xy minus 18xy squared, we definitely have more than two terms here. We have 14x, which has a number and just an x value, so that's one term. This one, 4xy, since we added the y variable, that's a different term. There was no y in here. And then for the 18xy squared, you got now two y's. So we definitely have a polynomial here. Let's find the greatest common factor. Now, simpler terms, right? A greatest common factor is mostly simplified to a GCF, right? And you've probably heard of greatest common factor throughout your whole algebra or your whole math experience, right? So we're just bringing it back, right? A greatest common factor. Greatest means the biggest, right? So we need to find the biggest either number, so maybe I'll say biggest number or variable, because we're dealing with polynomials here. So the biggest number or the biggest variable. Can I spell? I don't know. Variable that is common, right? And if you're talking about factors, we are talking about stuff that is being divided. So it's the biggest number or variable that can be divided between the terms. So key word there. Always know that a GCF is always going to be either that value or smaller than what is given. So now we just got to find out what those numbers or variables are, right? What is the GCF? Well, we take each one and look at it separately, and then we kind of combine them and see what they have in common. Everything must be in common. So, for example, let's start with the 14, right? 14. Don't even look at the variables first. Now, all we have to talk about is the numbers that you can divide by 14, right? The easiest way to go about this is just use your times tables and know what two numbers will, be multiplied to add up to 14. So in this case, I could say that I have 1 times 14. 1 times 14 is 14. And then 2 times 7, right? 3 times something, nah, right? 4, nah. Now, these are the only pairs that will get me to 14. Now, the thing is that you only got to do this once, really, because if you have a greatest common factor, the number that is shared between the other ones, the 4 and the 8, or the 4 and the 18, must be one of these four numbers. So, let's see. If we write out all the numbers that come from the 4, right? What two numbers multiplied together will get me 4? Well, it's always 1 times 4, and in this case, 2 times 2. Do the same thing for the 18. Now, don't even worry about that this is negative. Greatest common factors, 9 times out of 10 are always going to be a positive value. So we got 1 times 18. Let's see, 2 times 9. 3 times 6. 4, nah, 5, nah, and then we get back to 6. Okay, now all we got to do is just pick the number that is the greatest, the biggest between them. You see it? It is a 2. We got a 2 in here. We got a 2 in here. It doesn't really matter which 2 I pick. And we have a 2 in here. So we definitely know that a 2 is part of the greatest common factor. Now we just got to look at the variables that are in common. Well, for this one, I just have one x. So if I'm going to pick that x value, that means that all these other ones have to have an x in them. And look at that. Here's an x. and here's an x. They all have one x in common. Now notice how the 4xy and the 18xy squared, they do have y's, but this one doesn't have a y. So that is not common. But they all have x's, right? So maybe we'll say x, and maybe we'll keep this one in black. There we go. X, and x. So that is the same. Whee! So we'll color that in, and then that's part of your greatest common factor. And then you're basically done. So we have 2x. So that means that 2x is the greatest common piece of information that can be divided by each of these. And that is your final answer. Done. What'd you think? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this helped. Let me know in the comments. I try to get back to as many comments as I can in my spare time. Love helping you guys out. My brother and I really do appreciate all you guys. Thank you for coming to the channel and making it what it is. And we hope that we are giving back to you as well, that we're providing the best educational content that we can provide so that you guys can reach your career aspirations, your academic aspirations, because we just want to guide you there. All right? I hope you're doing well. Have a great day. And I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.